Hi guys, Sheena here. I wanted to talk a little bit about empathy today, the mind-body connection, and how I learned about these things as a growing human. And to start, I would like to say that I was a bit of a sickly child. I had stomach issues, allergies, sensitivities. Emotionally, I struggled with expressing myself. And as I grew older, that manifested in many different ways. And when I think I was around like 9, my mother always brought us to homeopathic doctors, and we were very lucky in that way to already have that information at a young age. But I remember specifically going to the doctor about pain in my stomach and acid reflux and things like that, and I was basically told I had an ulcer. And generally speaking, ulcers come from the H. pylori bacteria. And at that time in my life, they tested me and I didn't have that bacteria. And essentially it came down to I was overstressed and overwhelmed, and I was carrying that emotions in my belly is literally what the doctor had told me. And it was at that young age that I discovered that stress and worry and overwhelm can actually live inside of our body. And as I progressed and grew older, that information shifted. For instance, I was lucky enough to work in a health food store at a very young age. And before I even worked there, I used to hang out there. My mother was a manager there. My mother had gotten food poisoning really bad, and these ladies basically saved her life through supplements and healthy sort of alternative medicines. And so we worked in this health food store, and in this health food store we would take women off of synthetic hormone therapy and put them on an alternative hormone replacement therapy, where we gave them creams and diet regimens. And these wonderful ladies that ran this supplement store, very small supplement store in town, would keep these cards for people and write down their issues and what was going on with them. And they would, give them supplements and nutrition and tools to manage through these issues. And I was learning that at a very young age. And as I grew older, I actually ran away from my house when I was 15. I was already independent and wanted my independence, and that whole story's for another time. But I got into just how my friends ate, and I would go to Sonic late at night, and we were partying and drinking, and everything was imbalanced for me. And a lot of those illnesses that I struggled with at a young age really started to resurface in a much different way. And I had terrible acid reflux. I would go through bouts of these horrible cramping pains where I would be doubled over in pain and be like put out of whatever I was doing. Emotionally, I was up and I was down and I was all around. And so I was already sort of registering this information. Now, same thing happened to me when I was in the military, especially when on my deployment to Iraq, the first deployment. I was just eating the regular foods, and there was a lot of stress and overwhelm, and I wasn't managing it well. I wasn't sleeping. I was depressed. I was diagnosed ADD. I took Ritalin. I took Ambien. They gave me all this information to help me manage my lack of sleep and my anxieties and my depressions. I took Zoloft. So I was going through these times, and I was noticing everywhere I was, sure enough, the mind-body connection. I was making myself sick. And since a young age, I've made myself sick. And I correlate that to being an empathic person too, because we do register the world in a more sensitive way. We feel it, right? It took me a long time to get back into the health world. It took, going to a yoga training, really, that information came back to me, but I was so lucky because I had a foundation of that information to where it was just like extra compound quick. I was able to receive it, start to work with it and see the changes and shifts in me. So I just wanted to share that information with you, let you know kind of how my path started and things like that. So